Hello students, our today's topic is regulation of female reproductive organs या neuroendocrine regulation of female. हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, आज का हमारा टॉपिक है न्यूरोएंडोक्राइन रेगुलेशन ऑफ फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन. इससे पहले जो हमने वीडियो दिया था आपको वो था मेल का, कि भ्रूण में किस तरह हार्मोन्स उस पर इफ़ेक्ट डालते हैं कि उसका कौन सा लिंग निर्धारण होगा या सेक्स डिटरमिन होगा. वो 7th मंथ जो था वो फीटस यानी एम्ब्रियो का था. यहाँ पर आज हम देख रहे हैं फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव ऑर्गन्स. आपको पता है मेन फीमेल रिप्रोडक्टिव जो फंक्शनल ऑर्गन है वो ओवरी है, जिसपे न्यूरोएंडोक्राइन इफ़ेक्ट होता है, और जो फीटस है वो फीमेल में डेवलप होता है. ये देखिए न्यूरोएंडोक्राइन किस तरह से इस पे इफ़ेक्ट डाल रहा है. आप जानते हैं मुख्य फीमेल हार्मोन्स कौन कौन से होते हैं? एस्ट्रोजन और एंड्रोजन.
Known as FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, luteinizing hormone. Please note that in males, this same process also occurs. Males also produce gonadotropin-releasing hormone, which will cause the anterior pituitary to release luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So, what will these hormones do in the female body? Well, these hormones will travel to the female ovaries, where the female eggs are produced. So let's just recap quickly what the ovary is and where it is. So here we have the uterus and the ovaries, which connects to the uterus via the fallopian tube, essentially. But it's now known as a uterine tube. So we will focus on this ovary here. So let's zoom in. So here is the ovary, and it has blood vessels, and it's through these capillaries, these blood vessels, that the hormones can enter. Now, in each ovary there are follicles. Women have many follicles in the ovaries, and each month only some will begin to mature, but only one will ovulate and will ovulate and produce an egg. Now let's just say it's the beginning of the menstrual cycle. So just after female has shed her uterine wall, just had the period. Now within the ovaries, females have many primordial follicles. And each month, only some of these primordial follicles will mature into primary follicles, and they will keep maturing, but only one will ovulate. So here I'm drawing one primary follicle, and it's the beginning of the menstrual cycle. Before we continue on, let's look at the changes of the hormone concentrations that come from the brain by looking at a graph. So here we have a y-axis which shows the concentration of the hormones in blood. And on the x-axis is the duration of the female menstrual cycle, which normally goes for about 28 days. So the dotted line in the middle is 14 days, which is halfway. Now, just to simplify things even more, the menstrual cycle can be divided into two phases. The first 14 days is known as the follicular phase, and the last 14 days is known as the luteal phase. And this is important to keep in mind. So the first is the follicular phase, the second is the luteal phase. Now initially, in the beginning of the menstrual cycle, there is an increase in gonadotropin-releasing hormone secreted by the hypothalamus, because it's the start of the menstrual cycle. And this should cause a steady increase in follicle-stimulating hormone, but just hold on to that thought and hopefully it will make sense. So let's go back to the gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus is stimulating the release of luteinizing hormone. At low concentrations, estrogen will inhibit luteinizing hormone release. Another fact is, so at low concentrations, estrogen will inhibit luteinizing hormone secretion. However, at high concentrations, estrogen will stimulate luteinizing hormone secretion. Now, things are changing. The increase in gonadotropin releasing hormone and estrogen will stimulate then luteinizing hormone secretion. And you see this massive spike in luteinizing hormone concentration. It's this massive luteinizing hormone concentration that will trigger ovulation of the most mature follicle in the ovary. Levels will increase slowly, and the estrogen levels will decrease. And this will mean that progesterone cannot inhibit gonadotropin releasing hormone.